The current circumstances merit exceptional measures in recognition of their exceptional service during the pandemic.
Asylum seekers who worked on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic will now be eligible for permanent residency. Federal Immigration Minister Marco Mendicino made the announcement Friday in Montreal. Those who worked in hospitals, long-term care residences, and retirement homes will now be eligible under certain conditions. But some say the announcement excludes other asylum seekers who also took risks during the pandemic.
We're talking about the security agent, we're talking about food processing employees, we're talking about people working at grocery stores and the pharmacies, and they're not included, and this is wrong.
To apply, asylum seekers must have applied for asylum before March 13th and currently have a work permit. They must have worked at least 120 hours in patient care between March 13th and August 14th. They must have 6 months experience at a healthcare institution and meet the other criteria related to permanent residency, like health and safety requirements.
It is not an easy process because everybody has to establish a well-founded fear of persecution back to their country. They need to establish that with their proofs, with their evidence, with their testimony. And it's also the burden that they have to prove is pretty high. So it is not an easy process.
The federal government says the decision will affect about 1,000 people across Canada. But France André, who works with asylum seekers, says the number isn't completely accurate.
They're not taking count of some of the people working in private residency. They don't have those numbers yet. And they don't take consideration people working for the employment agencies that are being moved from one place to the next. And the CHSLDs are not keeping record, nor the private residents are not keeping record of these people that are being moved around.
Back in May, Quebec Premier François Legault said the province would look into the situation of asylum seekers on a case-by-case basis. Now, those who reside in the hard-hit province will need a Quebec selection certificate before applying for permanent residency.
The CSQ is basically an easy thing to get if you are approved as an asylum seeker. If after you're approved by the IRB, it is very easy. It's a technicality.
The federal immigration minister says Canadians are grateful for the sacrifice made by asylum seekers.
We are grateful for their service, for their sacrifice, and for their instinct to put the needs of community ahead of all else. I know we will remember their courage and compassion for years to come.
We're not going to stop authenticating. We're not going to stop asking much more. I think the human being, which are not angels, the human being, are dying, and they're not only dying from the COVID-19, they're dying of anguish and anxiety.
In Montreal, Sharon Yonan-Renold, City News.